Hi guys, welcome back, and today we're doing the next part for What If Cabba was in Universe 7 instead of Universe 6. Now last time we left off with the Battle of Gods story just beginning, and I left off with a question of who should have the God ritual performed on them. And after going through all the comments, I pretty much come to the conclusion that most people, if not everyone, voted for Goku to get this done, as this is a way for the Saiyan to catch up, and with this done, the group used the God ritual on Goku, and things here go pretty normal, with the battle between himself and Beerus being pretty much like it was in canon. Now, with this done, Beerus is happy, and the god heads home, with the Saiyans who performed the ritual on Goku pretty impressed with his new power. They decide to meet up soon to get some training done with Goku's new form. However, Goku is a bit bummed out. This means that all of his training for Super Saiyan 3 would have gone to waste, and he decides that first he wants to at least get a little bit better at using the Super Saiyan 3 form. He will continue to try and train up this new power, but for now he doesn't want to waste all that Super Saiyan 3 training. Now, a month goes by with Goku not being able to grow his Super Saiyan 3 form much, but he's still gotten a little bit better at using it. Alongside this, he has also gotten a better understanding of his God form, and from it he's got a lot stronger, from now being the weakest Pure Saiyan alive to the strongest Pure Saiyan. As well as this, he's nowhere near mastering either of these forms. However, it's a lot easier for the Saiyan to use them. Now, like I said, a month has gone by, and during this time, Whis has been coming to Earth to get some Earth food. However, he's been avoiding the presence of Raditz and the other Saiyans, as Raditz has been training with Goku and Cabba. But finally, for the first time after a month, Raditz runs into Whis. And Raditz would pretty much go through everything Vegeta did to try and train under the Angel. After all, after he heard he was the master of Beerus, he would clearly want to train under the, Angel. And he would manage to succeed and convince Whis to train him. However, he wouldn't want to go alone. Raditz isn't like Vegeta here, and he would soon call upon his best friend and brother to join him in this training. With Whis being okay with this, the three start their training with the Angel. And here I don't see all three Saiyans pursuing the God form. In fact, I see them all pushing for their own thing. Whis wouldn't push it upon any of them to chase the God form. However, he would chase them to learn at least a bit about God Ki, and also would make sure to start teaching some of the habits of Ultra Instinct to them, without ever saying what Ultra Instinct was, mind you. Now, out of all the Saiyans, Goku is the only one to pursue the God form. This is mostly because he is the one who has the easiest time with it, thanks to the fact he had the ritual done with him. But they all do start pursuing their own ways. With Cabba, he's thinking of a way to try and combine the likes of God Ki with his Super Saiyan 4 form. As for Raditz, he's looking for a way to grow his ultimate form as much as he possibly can. And for now, he's doing a lot of training in his base state to try and push his ultimate even further. And for Goku, he is trying to start working on a combination of the likes of God form with Super Saiyan. And with him managing to do this after a while, it begins to give Cabba more confidence that he would be able to merge God Ki with his Super Saiyan 4 form. Now, he is having no luck at the moment, but after watching Goku manage to make Super Saiyan Blue, he is pretty confident it can be done, but it's just going to take a lot of time. And after a few months of training, the current ranks for the Saiyans strongest to weakest would be Goku in first. Following along behind is Raditz, who's benefited a lot from training that Whis is putting him through, and is also training a lot in his base state to upgrade his ultimate. And finally is Cabba, whose form isn't the best for this sort of training. However, the group is a lot stronger, and with Whis being teaching some of the starting points for Ultra Instinct, very loosely, like in canon, the likes of Goku is too relaxed still, while Raditz is too on guard all the time. However, Cabba is almost correct. He's not right, he's more switched on than he needs to be, but he is always alert and can relax when it's needed. Meaning that if he just balanced himself out a little bit more, he would be perfect. And the group hearing this are pretty motivated after this. Cabba is trying to figure out how to get himself to turn off his brain a little bit more and relax, but it's not something that can be done easily. And this leads to everyone training a lot harder. Now, on Earth, since their parents have left the hybrids and, not really been training them as of lately, They have been keeping themselves busy by training with one another, with the likes of Goten, Trunks, Gohan, and Harrow starting to train a bit more seriously. Gohan is trying to teach the likes of Goten and Trunks the Super Saiyan 2 form, while Harrow is getting taught how to master the Super Saiyan form. Cabba had already started to teach his son how to do this, but didn't get to finish it thanks to the training with Whis. But Cabba had pretty much got him to the finish line, and Gohan just pushes him over it, with him managing to achieve the perfected Super Saiyan form. With this done, the other kids are being able to learn the Super Saiyan 2 form slowly, but Gohan feels like they need a push to get onto it. After all, Super Saiyan 2 is a bit of a difficult form to get to, but he believes they will get there at some point. Now, as for Gohan, he's been having his own moment. Gohan has found his balance between work life and being a warrior, but he feels like he needs to pursue his own power. He doesn't have much free time in between training with the kids and working, so he has to find a way to, get stronger in that short time. And he's not sure how he should do it. He knows that Super Saiyan 3 form will take time to learn, and he doesn't have this time, unfortunately. He knows that he can't go after the Super Saiyan 4 form. After all, he doesn't have his tail anymore, but he could always wish for it, he supposes. But also knows that the Golden Great Ape form could be a difficult problem to get over. Then the God State could work, but without his father or any other Saiyans on the planet, they are just short with Saiyans. So if he wanted to, he could wait until they next get here. However, that could be a problem. But he then remembers the form his uncle had here, and he remembers that it was only a day's worth of waiting around to get it. He just needs to get into contact with the Kais, and this probably wouldn't be too hard for Gohan. It would probably take a little bit of time to figure out how to get hold of them. After all, this Earth doesn't have a guardian. The closest thing this planet has at the moment is Piccolo, who, after fusing with Kami, sort of took up the role, sort of didn't. He doesn't take the role of Earth's guardian, but he just makes sure that he does everything Kami would have done. And this means that Piccolo can loosely contact the Kais. With him doing this for Gohan, the Kais eventually do get back to Gohan, and he goes through getting the ultimate ritual done to him. With Supreme Kai and Elder Kai happy to do this, after all, Gohan is a very pure-hearted person, and he's got incredible amount of potential in him. So this is done to him, and after a day he gets the ultimate form. Seeing how strong it is, he feels incredibly more powerful, and is actually surprised how strong he is. He then thinks to himself that maybe he should get the kids to go through this later on. After all, this would be better than the Super Saiyan 2 form. But he soon realizes that they wouldn't have the patience to sit still for a while to do this, and decides against it. But maybe when they're a bit older, or he feels like they are ready, he'll bring them up. But for now, he's not doing that. Now, after this is done, like normal, a bit of peacetime does happen, and here we don't see the arrival of the Freezer Force. Some of the dots don't line up here. With the Pilaf gang having made their wish perfectly years ago, they sort of disbanded since Mai and Cabba had got married, and the likes of Pilaf and Shu just, go around doing their own thing now that they are a normal age. And another thing that doesn't line up here is we don't have Dragon Balls. You see, after Kami fused with Piccolo, there was no way to get over Dragon Balls, so anytime they need them, they make a trip out to Namek. So there's no way to bring back Frieza without going to Namek, and Namek's still hidden in this timeline. So here there's no Resurrection F. Now with this done, time does pass like normal, and Champa and Beerus have their normal food wars. No, not that one. With Beerus winning because of Earth, we see the tournament being set up. Now here, the group already have a set of 3, meaning they just need 2 more, and we won't be seeing Monoka here. Not being needed thanks to the fact that the group are pretty motivated to keep up their training with one another. So they don't need any more motivation, and Whis doesn't want to spoil his, entertainment that they have at the moment. With the group getting taken to the Earth, they start searching for, a team. With them recruiting Piccolo much like normal, they then need one more fighter. With Gohan being their first choice, the fighter is down. After all, he wants to test out his new power in this tournament. With a team being made, the group get ready to fight, with the likes of Champa's team having changed just a small amount. With him now, instead of having Cabba, he has brought another Saiyan, the likes of Khalifa. And I just want to explain my reasoning here. Now, the reason I chose her is that more than likely the issue that happened with Cabba's master happened here. And with this said, Khalifa and Cabba's master are related in some way, if I remember correctly, and this leads to her being suggested here. With this done, it leads to Khalifa being here, but because Khalifa here, we see another Saiyan in the mix. The likes of KO has come to watch the tournament. Now, with this done, everyone passes their tests, with the likes of Goku only just passing. And the actual tournament begins, with the likes of Gohan leading the charge in this tournament. With him fighting Botamo first, we see Gohan have to find a way to get around his, well, tough exterior. Gohan eventually sees the creature's biggest weakness. Much like his father, he uses the same strategy to win, ringing out the Pooh Bear. With this done, this leads to Frost coming into the ring, with the group not being too salty since Frieza hasn't shown up again, and they are still on guard, but for the most part they aren't so on edge. Gohan being massively too strong for Frost, it takes Frost's final form to make Gohan have to fight him on level footing. Gohan is having to use his Super Saiyan form here, however, it is a pretty one-sided fight, with Gohan being in the lead for the most part. And unfortunately, Frost still cheats here, and this isn't noticed right now. After all, Frost got away with it first time, so he probably gets away with it here. And once Gohan is poisoned, he is ringed out. Right now, after this, Piccolo goes in like normal, and this fight goes pretty normal, even though I would argue that Piccolo is maybe a little bit stronger than in canon. And everything for this part goes pretty normal, with Frost being called out as a cheater, and this lets Piccolo and Gohan get re-incited into the fight. However, Piccolo will be staying in the arena here. After all, no one wants to go around with Frost because they don't have the same anger towards Frieza like they would in this timeline. After all, he's been dead for years and he never came back. So Piccolo gets to stay in and fight for a while longer. With him going on to fight Vegeta, with this being a pretty easy fight for Piccolo. Piccolo knows his way around an insult or two, and would definitely find Metal Man's weakness, and he wins. Next up is the likes of Khalifa, where I'm going to say that Piccolo loses for a few reasons. I'm pretty sure that Piccolo would be tired after the battle with Vegeta, which had all the same conditions as it did in canon. So after his battle with Frost, he probably would have wasted a bit of energy, so he would probably be a little bit more tired. But what I want to bring up is we don't actually know how strong this version of Khalifa would be. Keep in mind that canon Cabba could go toe to toe with base Vegeta, who had trained with Whis. And I don't believe this version of Piccolo is anywhere near that version of Vegeta. Not that I think he's too far behind, I just don't think he's as close as he needs to be. So I believe that Khalifa would more than likely win this. I'm not going to say it was an easy fight for her, but I believe it was pretty close, and in the end, Khalifa would win. Now, if people want to argue about this, that's fine, but I just know that Khalifa had a lot of potential, and she was incredibly strong from when she first appeared. So this is how I believe things would happen. Now, with Piccolo ringed out, the likes of Goku goes into the ring. He was supposed to go on a little bit later on, being the star, pupil. He was the last call. However, Goku had taken an interest in the girl and swapped places with Cabba. With Goku now entering the ring, he says how they should jump it up a level. He's seen all she can do in base, so why doesn't she go Super Saiyan? Goku does show off the Super Saiyan form, and Khalifa gets excited to see this form. She was excited when she saw it earlier when Gohan used it, and now she gets to see it in a battle. The two have a quick little spar before Goku asks why hasn't she gone Super Saiyan, with Khalifa explaining how she doesn't know it, but demands the old man teaches her. Goku, unsure of how he can do this, he just sort of explains the sensation of turning Super Saiyan, how it's something brought on once a Saiyan is pushed to their limits, or in a moment of rage, they will achieve the legend. With this making Raditz a little bit nostalgic, seeing his brother actually talk about Super Saiyan in such a high way. But Goku goes on to explain how she probably can't do it now, but she should go away and train, and they can fight again once she's unlocked it. With this annoying the girl, she starts straining herself while Goku is talking a little bit more, and suddenly she transforms in front of everybody. She turns Super Saiyan just like that. Goku is impressed, with her saying it seemed pretty simple once he explained it, so she had to try it. Raditz in the stands is shaking his head at how the girl activated the legendary form with no effort. Cabba at the side laughs before pointing out how all their kids pretty much unlocked the form with ease, and they were much younger than her, with Raditz sighing before watching the match, realizing that maybe this legendary form just isn't as legendary as it once was. Now, Goku and Khalifa's match is mostly Goku warming up. Goku knows the most interesting person in this tournament is Hit, so he's getting ready for this fight. But during this fight, he also teaches her more about Super Saiyan, telling her the next step she should be taking with the form, telling her that there's things after it, and at some point, Goku has to get sort of serious during this fight, and has to block a few of Khalifa's hits, before Khalifa demands that Goku goes all out, with him grabbing one of her punches and kicking the girl in the side, winding her, before Goku begins to scream, straining his whole body, and the whole planet begins to shake. And with this done, he shows off the Super Saiyan 3 form, telling her that this is the final evolution of the Super Saiyan form. If she wants to get strong, this is what she should strive to do. He doesn't show off the God form as he doesn't know if their planet can meet the requirements, so for now he just shows off Super Saiyan 3. With him disappearing and reappearing, knocking the girl out of the ring, and him jumping down from Super Saiyan 3, he wipes a bit of sweat off his face. Clearly not as drained as much as normal, but Super Saiyan 3 is still very taxing for him. And this leads to Goku versus Hit. Now this fight is a bit different from normal. Hit isn't as interested in Goku. No one had shown off any godly abilities. Goku hadn't seen Hit fight yet, so both parties don't know much about other fighters. Keep in mind Goku only fought a short match against Khalifa, and Hit didn't get to see much of how he fights, so he's not too interested. However, Goku, knowing that he shouldn't take Hit lightly, jumps up to the Super Saiyan God form, to make sure that he is okay to fight with Hit for at least a little bit. Khalifa, who is in the stands and just waking up, can see Goku using a power he didn't use against her, and slowly begins to wake up and gets more excited to watch this match. Goku and Hit's fight is close for a while, with Goku using his Super Saiyan God form to hold off with Hit for a little bit, before the assassin's time skip is growing just a bit too much. This leads to Goku showing off his new form, with this being the Super Saiyan Blue form. This leads to Goku getting a bit more even with Hit. Goku then flies straight towards Hit, going to land a massive blow on him. However, Hit uses his time skip to stop Goku in his tracks and land a massive combo of hits on Goku, leading Goku to being knocked all the way to the edge of the arena. With Hit getting confident and ready to win the tournament, he uses his time skip once again, when Goku predicts the movement of Hit, managing to catch Hit's blow. This makes Goku smile and Hit look a bit concerned. Goku then puts on a counter-attack, with Hit going to land another hit on Goku. The turtle student manages to start guessing where Hit's going to throw a punch, with him managing to now land blows on Hit and also block hits, with this making Champa nervous as the two fighters continued their fight, with both of them clearly getting very much into the fight. Eventually Hit is starting to increase his time skip, making it a bit harder for Goku to counter, and also the injuries on Goku have started to cause some problems. After all, Hit managed to rough him up pretty good when he was in Super Saiyan God. And Goku running out of steam, he does have one final trick. Much like normal, Goku begins to strain himself and eventually calls out Kaioken, with this leading to the Saiyan showing off his Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken form. He then rushes at Hit, Goku clearly having the upper hand now. As Hit tries to counter Goku, the Saiyan blocks it and dodges effortlessly. Goku's too fast now and Hit's time skip isn't going to change too much. Goku manages to get a hit on, Hit, starts moving Hit into a position where he can land the final blow. However, just before Goku can land the final attack, the strain of the Kaioken finally takes Goku down. His body was already pretty injured after fighting Hit and trying to learn how he works, and this leads to Goku crumbling right at the very end. With this done, Hit is declared the winner, and Goku is pulled off the arena, with him being nursed by his wife, and also Whis having a quick run through just to make sure the Saiyan is okay. But before Goku is completely taken away, he gives a rundown to his friends of what they should do. Cabba's next into the arena, so he explains how Hit moves a little bit before his wife smacks him over the head, telling him he needs to rest. And with this done, Cabba steps into the ring. He's wagering his power will be enough to finish off a pretty injured Hit, but isn't sure. After all, he is the weakest Saiyan currently, as he's been trying to experiment with a new form which hasn't been working out too well, but he hopes he'll figure something out soon. Now, Cabba, having an understanding of how to fight Hit, he gets ready and jumps up to his Super Saiyan 4 form. With Khalifa seeing another form that she thinks is super cool, is unaware that she can never reach it. However, she watches in awe. Now, with Cabba ready to fight, he rushes at Hit, with him already understanding he should be okay to counter Hit in some way. With Hit using his time skip to go and land a blow on Cabba's head, thankfully the Saiyan had predicted something like this and manages to avoid the blow by moving his body upwards at the very last minute. He still gets hit in the chest, however Cabba thinks fast and wraps his tail around Hit's arm. The assassin panics, tried to pull his arm back, however is met with a kick to the face, sending Hit staggering backwards. With the assassin using his time skip to readjust and move, he goes to Cabba's side and lands one massive blow. With this being a pretty good blow, Cabba has to catch himself from flying backwards. He catches himself and throws a weak ki blast with one of his hands. Hit punches through the blast, with Cabba getting up close and personal to Hit before shouting out solar flare. With this blinding Hit, who can still sense Cabba's energy, is soon confused when he feels the energy halved. With Cabba having used a multi-form technique to make this fight a 2v1, he's lost some power, however he's willing to make this exchange. With one Cabba staying back and sending out energy blasts multiple times, while another one heads in close and fights up close and personal with the assassin. This does throw Hit off for a little bit, however once his eyesight is back, the assassin knows what he needs to do. He begins to use his time skip to periodically land good blows on the slower Cabba. With Cabba understanding how to counter, he still can't, move as fast thanks to the fact he is split into two. And eventually Hit breaks through the close ranged Cabba, and this leads to the ranged one having to rush in. However, once the one who was fighting Hit from a range gets close, the one who was up close and personal to Hit already grabs hold of the arm, and the two merge back into one. With Cabba now back at full power, Hit and Cabba start to clash once again. And thanks to Cabba now having an understanding of Hit's fighting style a lot better, thanks to the fact that he just watched it from two different perspectives, he is now able to predict where Hit's going to go a lot easier, and after blocking one of the assassin's hits, he fakes a punch and grabs Hit with his tail and flings him straight into the ground, and then takes a pose of his Kamehameha gun, throwing it straight at Hit, with this pummeling the assassin into the ground. Hit does manage to take the attack, however he is very injured, and Cabba is already flying straight down towards him to finish off the fight. The assassin, having one more good attack in him, gets ready to use his time skip and sends off a blast of compressed air, which does hit Cabba, however the Saiyan pushes through it, but this isn't what Hit was wagering on. When Cabba gets close, he lands one good right hook on the Saiyan's face, managing to stagger Cabba a little bit, but Cabba soon grabs hold of Hit and flings him straight out of the arena. And once this is done, Cabba walks out of the ring himself, goes to help Hit up, and says how next time they fight, he hopes that Hit is in better condition and can go all out. With Goku sharing these feelings from the stands, he's smacked over the head once again. And Raditz is just annoyed he didn't get to fight in the tournament at all. However, with this done, things here in this timeline go pretty normal. With the likes of Zeno showing up and Goku befriending him here, everything goes pretty normal and they all go back to training. But I said this timeline, there's something else I want to cover here. In a city that's hardly holding together, and a sky that's dark as ever, we see two familiar faces hiding behind a broken building, while a figure out in the distance scans the nearby area. He sends off a massive blast, destroying a building. With it being dangerously close, the figure flies away, leaving the two people we are looking at to fall to the floor, letting out a sigh. Once we see it a little better, we can clearly see this to be our future friends. Future Goten and Future Trunks turn to one another and nod, before running off in the opposite direction. With the pair walking into an underground lab, we see two people that are very, very close to them. We see Future Bulma and Chi-Chi, who have been hiding away from the person who just destroyed this city. But they're all confused at how he's here. He died years ago, and as far as the group is aware, he's much different from what they knew. The person this is most hard on is Goten. As for all, this person just looks like his father, but there's something wrong about him, and they just can't put their finger on it. However, that's not something to worry about right now. They have a plan on how to stop him. They're going to go back and get their friends from the past, and hopefully they will have enough to help them. With this said, they are about ready to leave and head towards the destroyed Capsule Corp building off in the distance, when Mai walks into the room. She grabs the attention of both future Goten and Trunks, and the group all start talking about who should be heading back to bring reinforcements. The cousins of Goten and Trunks have thought about this a lot, and they've talked about it in great detail. They had already decided that Trunks will be the one going back. Goten is slightly stronger than his cousin. He will be able to defend their families a lot easier than if Trunks was to stay behind. And as much as it annoys Trunks, he does know it to be true. With Goten walking up to the other side of the lab where there's another exit, he gives everyone a wave before jumping up to Super Saiyan 2 and flying off at a rapid speed. With everyone watching him get chased off by a figure moving at breakneck speeds, they all get ready to run out of the other direction, making a bolt for the likes of Capsule Corp. With Trunks constantly keeping track of where his friend and cousin is, he can tell that he's alright, but the figure is gaining on him fast. With them arriving at Capsule Corp, they start refilling the time machine, and beginning to panic, they start rushing to get it done faster. Trunks eventually gets into it, telling the group that he'll be back as soon as he can, and please make sure that Goten lives. The two are close, and they are all each other really hard in this time. After all, they're family here. With Trunks taking flight in the time machine, he sees the city that he once managed to rebuild completely destroyed once again. But something catches his attention. Explosions and a lot of buildings falling off in the distance. He can see the aura of his cousin and friend Goten. However, he can see the aura of Balak as well. As he watches, he prays that Goten will be fine, and he jumps back into time. And hopefully, he will be able to bring back someone strong enough to stop this guy. Now, after a short trip, he manages to make it back to the past. In the same city he was just in, he lands at Capsule Corp, the undestroyed one, and walks out of the time machine. With the likes of Kid Trunks, Goten, and Haro all being there, they all sort of freeze up seeing an older person who looks a lot like Trunks. But that isn't what the person is looking for right now. Bulma hears the noise and comes out to see him, and all Trunks says is a few words: I need help. But this is where I'm leaving this part. I've left it here because the Goku Black arc is going to be a pain to cover, and I need to figure out how I'm going to do all of it. I hope people enjoyed this part. I'm not really sure what I want to say here. A lot of the time I wing my outros. I don't know if people notice. Most of the time I do have a structure, but I don't have any questions at the moment. That's sort of the issue. I already want to sort of know how I'm doing the next part, but I'm sure people don't mind that I wing this. After all, I write a whole script. And yeah, this is all I've really got to say. Once again, I just wanted to say I hope you enjoyed this thing. Thank you for all the support I've been getting recently, and I'm really getting back into the flow of writing again. So hopefully I should, be pumping them out a bit faster soon. If I had the time, I'm hoping to possibly maybe do 3 videos a week. But that's only really if I get the time to do it. I'll see how I go. But for now, yeah, I hope everyone has a great day or a good night, and hopefully I'll see you next time.